Hey everybody, how we feeling? Woo! Shout out to Network. My name is Shirley Jew. I'm super excited to be hosting this panel, Navigating and Maximizing Social Media as a Cannabis Brand. Something we can all attest to that we can relate is the biggest struggle in the world. I'm super excited. I have some dope panelists today. Let's start off by having you guys say your name and the company you work for.
So I'm Verita Richardson. I'm the marketing director with Dime Industries.
Hey.
I'm Whitney Beaty. I am CEO and founder over at Josephine and Billy's and at Apothecary Brands.
Matt Monroe representing Cure Company. Basically manage the brand.
Amazing. All right, so the real question, how do you guys navigate the struggles of Instagram?
That part. First you laugh about it.
Right.
First you laugh about it. I love this question because I feel like over time we ask how to navigate it, but I feel like it's making it a game. Like we are in one of the most regulated industries and it's about getting creative at times. Like I think it's about not getting frustrated and being like, we know what the barriers are. We know they're gonna take our post down. We know they're gonna have an issue with us spelling out cannabinoids, THC, things like that. So I think it's about challenging yourself to get creative within those boundaries, but still making sure you stay authentic to your message and your brand, which I'm sure we'll talk about more, but that would be the first one, but that laugh was it.
I concur with you. It is a struggle on an everyday basis, and I think what has served us best is being very true to who our brand is in everything that we post, because we know everything's not going to survive. I probably have more posts that have been taken down than are left back up, but what I need to make sure that we're doing is making maximum impact with those impressions that we get, even if we're not going to be able to see that over the long term, because some of these things are going to have to come down.
Well said. I like what you guys had to say there. There's challenges, but challenges, bring opportunities. If you figure out a lane that makes sense and then you can work that lane, you can have a way to be visible to different consumer types and monetizing that, looking at that in different ways. Right now, basically marketing as I look at it is a cost center. Without 280E and a couple of these other things that are gonna be changed, we are, it's a difficult thing. You have to have ambiguous results and put a price point on how many views you see and what that might actually return if you're in a retail store, and how many people actually come in and ways to track that. And then there's a brand side of it too. And that's the way I look at it as well. It's like there's retail side and there's brand side marketing.
Absolutely. Just curious, how many of you guys have been deleted?
Currently.
Been there.
Done that.
And what do you do? Because I'm sure the first time you're just like, dang, all that hard work I put into building this page is now gone.
Yeah, I don't know about for you guys, but we had 200,000 followers on our main channel. And to have that taken away is a big hit for us. Our secondary account has 25,000, but 200,000 to 25, that's like 10%,
We fought hard for ours, especially because, on the dispensary side, Josephine and Billy's is dispensaries in general, we're hyper local. My 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 fans are in the neighborhood, or the people who have the ability to come and see us on an everyday basis. So that really hurt for us. So we did, we fought the good fight. We've been taken down multiple times. We've come back multiple times from being able to, to argue our point with somebody. But there is no guarantees. And that becomes, it kind of feels like a shakedown sometimes, but I'm not supposed to say that part.
No, I agree with all of that. Like, to your point, having it taken down, it's not only the work that's put into it, but I think it's also like the history. It's also like showing the growth. I think at times we underestimate it's not just how far we've come, but showing, one, we know what we're talking about. We care about what we're doing, but like we're here for a reason. But coming back every time, you feel better. You have more lessons, you're more equipped, you're ready to go, and you have a few more strategies up your sleeve to make sure it doesn't happen, or if it is, you're ahead of the game.
And don't you feel like it's a vicious revolving cycle when you pay to get it back and then it gets taken again and you're just like, wow, I just spent all this money.
And then you look over and someone else has never getting taken down and they've just popping and
Right.
and doing everything else. And I'm
Right.
like, we are doing something educational, and they're like, absolutely not. So yes, it is very frustrating. But again, like to your point, if you get stuck in the frustration, you won't grow. This is the game that we're playing. We have to figure out how to play it better than they are.
Right. And I love what you said, V, because you had mentioned just like looking at it as a game and not getting frustrated. I think I wish I knew that from the jump. As a creator, I know for me, I was doing a lot of brand ambassador, UGC content. And when I got my account flagged and just completely shadow ban restricted, I took I lost a stream of income. So for a brand's perspective, like, did it take a toll on you guys financially as well?
I think like brand side, like having that visibility taken away, you can't really figure out what that is going to cost you in the long run. Because every day that you don't have that, you're missing the possible new entrance into your brand, and also a way to like give like an explanation of what we're actually doing here. I think this is one of those things where it's like a very polarizing world to be on a consumer side versus actually being at a company, seeing these things managed, and it's a lot of work, and have that taken away. It's like you can't really put a dollar sign on that until you get it back, and then you can start seeing the growth. You know what I mean?
So with my company Apothecary, that's a brand. We do sleek and sexy storage and humidity solutions for connoisseurs. So humidors, and we've been around for 10 years. And we had this issue with being shadow banned a couple years ago. And what we were able to do was really leverage other accounts. So, for example, I was mentioning this to you earlier. We have a partnership that we're doing with Takal, the Method Man, where he is, we've designed cases especially for him, and he's been going out and giving these cases to a ton of different celebrities. And part of our deal is that, he's gonna tag us. So I get so much more visibility now, even as a shadow banned brand, because somehow they have not decided to take Method Man down, but they take me down all the time. Yeah. So he's out there to survive and thrive, and it allows us to be able to bump drafts against that and get people to come into our page and click through to our website.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both what they said already. We are currently licensed in 8 states. So one thing that has helped us from a visibility standpoint is using alternate pages. We have state pages, so that's been an opportunity. Outside of that, and I feel I have to say this for being on this panel, sometimes I feel we put a lot of emphasis on Instagram. Instagram is amazing. It's a great platform, but remembering there's other ways to leverage that as well. So for us, leveraging email marketing has been very huge. And again, it's remembering and understanding that's gonna happen. So what's your backup plan? Don't think you're gonna be the special person that's gonna be fine. So have that strategy, have something in the back. And I also think it's about teaching your community and your customers how to interact with you off of social media. For us personally, we really like to leverage in-store events. We like to leverage event presence. Currently as a company, we have a monthly promotion that we offer nationwide every 10th of the month called Dime Day. So our customers know, hey, I don't see them on Instagram, but I'm gonna find them at Dime Day. I'm still gonna find the team. I'm gonna wait, they're gonna come back, we'll find them. So I think it's also about teaching and sharing with your community how to stay connected with you off of Instagram, even if it is, again, events. Make sure you follow our Twitter, follow our TikTok, make sure you're on our email list and letting them know. Because at the end of the day, the real ones are gonna be there. Like the loyal customers, they want to be every single place, everywhere. So remember, at least for me, we want to make sure we still find those people. And then you can't even get to gamify it. Like, I love using email where it's like, you're on the email list, you're going to find this out first. You're just following me on social, you'll see that later. So that also lets them be deeper in the community as well, where it's like, follow us everywhere. Instagram's like #1. You want to be here for everything, but sharing the other opportunities, the other spaces to stay connected to kind of circumvent that hurdle.
I absolutely 100% concur. I mean, the best things that we have are like our email list, and for the dispensary side, it's text blasts. People voluntarily give me their phone numbers, and I can text them once a week and tell them exactly what's going on. Those are my audience always. The stuff that's going up on Instagram, yes, I'm trying to bring in new people. Yes, I want to show culture and lifestyle or what have you. But my day ones, I can text them, and you don't get better attention than that. So you can't discount the stuff that we've been doing forever, because it pays dividends, and we see it on a monthly basis in the ROI.
Absolutely. To your point, V, about being at events, and I think Dime does an incredible job of being present in person. I remember Friday, I pulled up to the Toyota Arena, Trippie Redd was performing, and I run into my guy that runs the show, and he was wearing a Dime jacket, and then I go inside the arena, and it's literally Dime everywhere. So you guys do an incredible job of just having brand awareness and presence. I'm curious for brands that might be interested in how they can get their start collecting emails and texts. Do you feel like events are the best avenue to do that? Like getting people in real time to collect contact?
I'm biased. I'm an event planner. I've done event planning for a long time, so I love socializing. I love networking with people. So I always feel face-to-face is one of the best ways because you're going to remember that first connection and then you're going to get the follow, you're going to get the email. So having that first impression is everything. So I would definitely say use events to your complete advantage, especially because, again, you're going to have not only the contact, but the memory. So it's not just that transaction, but events, absolutely.
Absolutely.
What I've heard here is like diversified marketing, which is great. You know what I mean? And I think what I was talking about earlier is like picking a lane and the different avenues that you can connect with consumers. I've recently been doing a couple events with Framework. They throw like more or less EDM concerts in localized like LA area. And so what I'll do is I'll activate my retail stores, have a promotion for the customers to pick up an eighth at a discounted rate, and also get a ticket for a little bit less. And then once they go to the event, I have full activation there as far as like anybody has a table, they have Cure Company merch, along with a full smokable line. I feel like that's like the best. The first iteration was like eighths and like some joints and pre-roll and vapes, but now I'm just doing like ready to consume. And then we also have like branding all the way around it. And then if they go to that event, all they have to do is show a ticket like on their phone, and they can get a free eighth at our retail stores. So I'm just trying to bring new consumers in from different sections that people are interested in fun events.
Absolutely. To piggyback off your Method Man collab, has working with celebs, influencers, and collaboration with other brands benefited your brand? Oh, we got peach iced tea with Dime right here. Hey.
I mean, obviously, I benefited, and continue to benefit from our partnership on that side, but it really is 50-50. On the dispensary side, I found that it is much more difficult for us to always benefit. There's a lot of people who are out there deciding that they want to sell cannabis, people who you might not have ever, associated with cannabis, nor maybe not have any business being in this space to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. I'm like, but it's hard for us to move stuff that is priced outside of what it should be because of a celebrity collaboration. And then it's my job to convince the customer that it's worth it to buy that. And so we don't always jump on celebrity collabs. They need to be something that is actually organic to who that person is, that I actually, put this person and cannabis in the same sentence together naturally. And it has to be something that is targeted at the right market. At the end of the day, my store is on the corner of MLK and Dinker. Come visit us, 1535 West Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And we are in a very specific neighborhood where, I'm not going to be moving $90 eighths. I've tried that. It does not work, and at the end of the day, I run a fruit stand. We're produce. Cannabis has a shelf life and it will go bad. And if it's not moving, that's hurting me, not just the brand, it's hurting me as well. So we really do think twice, 3 times about celebrity collabs and really have to make sure that it's organic, it makes sense, and it's financially feasible on both sides.
From the brand perspective, I think you're talking about adding another person in the mix. That's got to get paid. You know what I mean? I got you. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like the side of it that would be appealing to a brand like myself is like, all right, I have exposure from that personality, right? For us, it's Marathon OG, RIP, and that has always outperformed, just because of the namesake, and then on top of that, it's a very sought after strain to get a hold of. But that price point, like to your point right there, is like the rest of my Cure Company portfolio is significantly less expensive than the Marathon OG. However, I do sell out a Marathon OG every month. So.
And real quick, I used to gift for Cure Company. Every time I gifted Marathon OG, the feedback would be insane. Like Nipsey has such a strong presence in the culture that people can't help but feel like something in their heart when they're gifted Marathon OG. So definitely.
So we've had the opportunity to do a couple collaborations over the last few years. We've had the opportunity to collab with Top Shelf Cultivation, an amazing flower brand here in California, but also with our Peach Iced Tea collab. This was the first celebrity collaboration we were able to actually offer outside of California. So for us, it is really about being able to leverage and support both communities, kind of as, you know, everyone's sharing, and not only it just being the cross promotion, but really meeting the community where they're at with the collaboration. For us, obviously with Iced Tea, we kind of played off of his name. We've got our peach iced tea, so that really lends obviously into the flavor. We kind of use a lot of his personality because it does kind of align with Dime and Think Higher, you know, be yourself, be authentic. So for us, it has definitely, it's been one of our top selling SKUs. Some of the states, like New Mexico, for example, where we're licensed, they sold out, I want to say in under like 36 hours. So
Wow.
It's been successful for us because I think everyone's able within this collaboration to stay in their lane respectfully. Like, we're great with hardware, we're great with our formulations, and then we're able to work with these other brands, whether it's something like Top Shelf, where they're bringing their amazing material to us and we're partnering it with our hardware, or with Peach Iced Tea here, where it's more of a lifestyle, it's community, it's culture, if you will. It just gives us an opportunity to gain that visibility, but I feel something even at this kind of lends its way to the events. We understand cannabis consumers are everywhere. We come to these cannabis events, but we're at the EDM festivals, we're at the rap concerts, you know, we're out shopping and doing yoga sometimes. So being able to give our customers visibility and just space with these collaborations, I feel is just a way for us to further build that relatability.
Absolutely. Just a general question. I know we touched on the email marketing, the text marketing, but what is your approach to branding marketing a cannabis brand on social media?
All right, I'll start. So it's difficult because, like, again, there's things that will just get flagged and you almost look at it afterwards and you're like, why did this happen? And then there's obvious ones where it's like, if you are clearly advertising the sale, like that's no. But we've been successful with, before we got deleted, but we're working on getting that back. But we've been successful with not getting flagged on AI graphics. So just presenting basically what the terpenes might smell like, what kind of like connotation between the flower look or the flower smell, and what, you know, fruits or something like that might be, or the minimal is working for us right now, and you know, you just really can't do anything to promote the sale of flower.
We've had a lot of luck with education-facing ideas. You know, the dispensary, JB, we're named after Josephine Baker and Billie Holiday, and we focus a lot on women of color. And so that has been our educational angle. And what we've learned through that is that even though we came at this saying we're going to develop this dispensary that is focused on women of color, everyone benefits. Everyone wants to understand how terpenes affect their body. Everybody wants to understand what's the best cannabis to use. And so we have a very diverse audience because of that. And so when we lean into that sort of thing, and I'll give you an example. We did a series that I don't even think is still up at this point, but it was called Send This To. And so it was just me talking, send this to your aunt who thinks that cannabis, you know, is bad news. Send this to your cousin who won't take an edible because he had that one bad experience back in, you know, 93. And that did gangbusters because we said in the title, send this to. So people were sending it out, you know. So even when we might have lost that post eventually when they found out, we had so much direct send traffic that it made the difference for us, and it was worth our time and energy.
I feel like education posts are more likely to not get. Was there like blatant weed in the post?
I mean, we do all the things where you don't say weed. I've learned not to say cannabis. We broccolis and little leaves and all the things.
Yeah.
But eventually, you know, I think what ends up happening for us, I feel like it's one post gets tagged, and then I think that they go through everything. They're like, oh, bitch, you've been doing all sorts of terrible things. And then they rip all our things down, and we have to start again. And we had to realize also it's a mindset. We got what we wanted from that. I got my value. You know, we had, you know, whatever, 15,000 people sent this to someone's inbox, you know,
That's
and
amazing.
it was hot in our area in which we live. That's what I really
that's
have to
really
walk away with.
clever. That's a dope campaign.
I would say successful for us has definitely been email marketing, but also kind of similar would be like our in-store events, our customer or patient appreciation days, because that's our opportunity not only to connect with customers, but to your point, also educate them. We do at times have the opportunity to have even like consumption events, or maybe we have a dispensary with a lounge. So it's an opportunity not only to say, hey, try this pen, it's gonna be great, you're gonna get a good high from it, but explain why, walk through the hardware, explain why why we're explaining that our industry is most powerful. Why would we say that? It's the battery, it's the way the pen has been created, it's the zero waste atomizer. So it's the experience plus the education at once. I think, again, it creates not only that lasting impression, but it's also going to educate the customer further. To your point, it's not just about, I'm going to teach you about terpenes. It's what can you do once you have that knowledge, once you have that education. So we're able to not only create educated dime customers, but also educated cannabis like consumers at that point.
Absolutely. What platform have you had the most success with?
Instagram.
Oh, man.
Instagram and email.
I've got to say text by far for us.
Okay.
Like I said, hyper local. When I'm going to your, I send you a text at noon on a Friday, and I know that this is your payday. But it's also
Smart.
because I think that when we first started 4 years ago at the dispensary, the text platforms were a lot less sophisticated than they are now. Now we use Happy Cabbage. They can tell me, I can say I want to send text blast to all the people who bought dime at our store in the last month and let them know that the new product is in, and that I'll give them
wow.
10% off. I can get that, granular with it, and then in 24 hours it'll say, of the people that you sent this to, you were able to turn 27% of these people, and this is the value that you got from it. This is the sales. So you can there's no excuse now. The data lives and exists.
Is there a software that does that?
We use Happy Cabbage, and
Okay.
they do all of that in our dashboard.
Wow.
We're like stocking up content right now to be releasing on YouTube. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
But I'm just like basically modeling it almost like how it's made for weed, and showing the consumer, okay, look, like there is a full-blown team behind this brand and what it takes to actually make an eighth or a half ounce or whatever, and show the care that's actually put into it. So YouTube plus shorts that you can cut into
I was gonna
Instagram
say
as
shorts
well.
is big. Yeah.
Big time. And then that also helps us hone in on like, all right, what is not gonna get us not demonetized, but flagged or anything like that. And then cross on that is the events. The events really do work for us.
Absolutely.
We actually have a way to track every person that goes to the event. If they do go into our retail store, we're able to capture that information and kind of deem that as a win for that event. So the last one, we had 345 out of, I think there were 7,000 people there that actually went into our retail store after.
Oh, wow.
So
what
I
event
think
was that?
That was a Framework Chris Dussy event,
Okay.
right in the heart of, right off the 110, right next to USC, Exposition Park. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm curious because I know that when the Instagram restrictions were happening, everyone was like, go to Twitter, they're cannabis friendly. My personal experience is Twitter is dead. Have you guys explored Twitter?
Twitter is dead.
Yeah. No one's
Like,
on
it has not been as fruitful. They are less restrictive by far, but it just has not been as fruitful for us.
Same.
And I think that, yeah, no, I agree. We've definitely ramped up our presence on X, Twitter, but not seeing the same engagement. But I think that's part of it. It's not just about where is it cannabis friendly. It is like, where are your people? And also
Right.
like, where do your people want to be? Not just like, where are you asking them to be, but like, where do you want to be?
That's a real.
Yeah, cannabis is very like content forward, and traditionally X or Twitter has been more, verbiage.
For sure. Yeah. What's your do's and don'ts and one tip you can give?
I would say, do get creative, do stay ambitious and innovative, maybe a little rebellious. And don't forget that part of why we're in this industry is not just to sell weed, it is to sell medicine, it is to educate people. I'm very passionate about why this industry exists, who it supports, and I feel like when we remember that, we remember, again, it's not just a product. Get to know your customers, get to know what they like, get to know why they are medicating. I feel it just allows us to support them more when we are creating that content because it's a message. And like I said, it's a relationship as well at the end of the day. I think that's my tip too.
So do always remember who is going to be buying this product and what they're going to be paying from a brand side. I'm always like, man, weed is too damn expensive, And so as long as you constantly think about the consumer, and I love your point saying the business we're in is in produce, you have a shelf life. 45 days from package date, you got to, move it pretty quick. So do always keep consumer in mind. Don't, I would say, price your weed too high. That or don't give anybody oxidized product, anything old. You know what I mean? And then a tip, I guess, is try new things. I think you guys are all saying the same thing here, and that's like with the challenges that we face. We have to be creative and we have to think about different ways that we can get visibility in front of consumers and have it be a fun thing. This industry has just been very tumultuous for the last years, and it's good to see a lot of people here. I got some support in the crowd here, so I appreciate you guys.
Hey.
And yeah, that's my point.
I think I would say do think outside of the box. In regards to all the things. I've been in this industry for 10 years now, and for a time, everybody wanted to be the Apple Store of weed. Everybody wanted this, and we were seeing the same things over and over. So don't be afraid to, pick an angle. Josephine and Billy's, people know it's us because we're, 1920s theme. We're roaring 20s. We've got a very distinct aesthetic that many people don't have. So we're not confused with the other people down the block. So don't be afraid to pick a lane and stay in it. Don't be afraid to do partnerships with people outside of cannabis. That has been one of our strongest, benefits by far. Can I do something with a restaurant that's down the street? Especially when you're hyper local, look at the people within your community that have the best following and figure out how you can work collectively with them. Don't forget to, if you're going to do events, if you're going to go out and give out free product, get emails, get phone numbers, collect those things. If you're not doing that, you're not going to be able to figure out what the ROI is on your event, and you're just throwing money into the wind. So make sure that you're collecting that information, even if you don't have a system yet on how you're going to send out these emails and how you're going to utilize this. Make sure that you're not throwing that information away, because those are the people who are going to be your audience. These are the people who are actually going to care. And I'd say that also, don't be afraid of using many influencers. I think that it's always nice to have a big method man or what have you, but you can also get power from people whose smaller audience really buys into what they're doing. So spend some time, look at people's content, and figure out how you can work creatively with them. You'll have a better response. I've got lots of friends who are like, I was so pissed because this person didn't call me back or whatever. But for the money that you were going to give that one guy, I could have gotten 10 people who got, 300,000 followers who actually care about them and live in the area in which you are. So don't get caught up in the hype.
Absolutely. I'm curious because there might be some brands out here that are more up and coming that want to get their name out there. What's your guys' take on like paid ads and what's worked for you?
I haven't really done too many paid ads. You know what I mean? If you're talking about like paying a person to do a post for you, I'm very open to that. There's a guy named J-Rod, J-Rod Special. He's just been like very hyper local to LA Inland Empire. And like people like that are fun and exciting, and I think he's been doing a lot of different promotions. So I was like telling our designer, I was like, yo, we should get this guy in to be doing something for our retail stores. But as a brand, as far as paid promotion, I haven't done too many things other than putting placement of our brand at different events.
For sure.
It's a hard nut to crack, paid. I mean, I've done things in magazine before.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get that, understand if there was a real return on investment there. The stuff that I've tried to do paid online or paid in social has been flagged or taken down, or, we get those issues. So I am going to concur with you that I think that we've gotten the best return from our cash is by being able to show up and do some sort of event, because at least we can walk away with some sort of tangible, I got, 150 emails, 150 text messages. That's something that you can eventually turn into dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, similar to Matt, I feel like most of our investments go more into our events. It goes more into not as much like actual paid ads for social media, but also collaborations, partnerships, working with athletes, influencers. So that has been very successful. It's been fun for us as well, just to be able to connect with people and again have that cross promotion across different networks, communities, industries. But yeah, social's interesting for sure. Those paid ads on social, on top of I don't think we can.
But other people get away with it all the time. That's the other thing that drives me crazy. I'm like, everybody got an ad, but if I sit up there and do anything, we will be white.
No, so
Like,
true.
this is
And I
Shawty.
feel like that's part of it too. Is even like I guess like that could even go backwards. My tip is like lean into the community because like being able to have open conversations about this. Sometimes people will whisper and like tell you everything not to do, but there are people that will not let you struggle and not let you go through everything we went, not let people gaslight you into believing shadow banning's not real, because I swear, if I hear one more person try to convince me of that. But I feel like that's also another thing is like having these conversations so that if someone's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, like, hey friend, respect, not sure if you should, like, just, I trust you, but we also are going to grow as a community if we stop running into the same hurdles and we stop trying to convince ourselves we can just power through it. Like I was an athlete, so I'm that person like, yeah, you can go for the long haul. Like I trust you, I believe in you if you got the confidence for it, but why would I let you stumble if we can all win? Because we will all win in that case.
For sure.
Community.
I wanted to touch on real quick because you had mentioned working with people outside of cannabis. It's interesting. I was actually at the Weed Maps party and I met Colby Raha. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And I think he's sponsored by Dime.
Correct.
So I want to know, like, first of all, how was it having an athlete represent your brand, and did that open more doors? Like, talk about working outside of cannabis and the value that brings.
Yeah, so our partnership with Colby Raw has come from, honestly, relationships. That's how a lot of our collaborations and partnerships come. It's just having people within the company or within the space know each other. So that's
He's
how
like a BMX legend, guys.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Colby Raha, BMX legend. He recently won a gold medal at the X Games this past summer. He's done 2 world record jumps within the last couple months alone. It's been very amazing, but it's definitely has opened doors for us. I mean, with this, we've been able to enter BMX, like basically like extreme sports. I mean, even with it being world record jumps, there are people that are into that. There are people that when we have posted or they see Dime on Colby, they recognize him, and so then they're interested in Dime. But also in the reverse, they know us, and they're like, okay, who's this guy? What's going on here? That's basically essentially how it started. It has opened more doors for us, again, not only in partnerships, but as we're able to also see Colby win, we also kind of get to travel with him and see, how far he goes, if you will. So that has also even allowed our brand to get more presence and visibility in states. Cannabis may not even be legal recreational yet, but with us currently, Dime is also expanding into hemp, so that has also given us an opportunity to highlight cannabis is great, obviously, for the medicinal side and getting, high, having that amazing euphoria, but there are also medicinal wellness benefits to that, and that's really how we're working with Colby currently, is more on the hemp side, so he can share and communicate to his community how he brings minor cannabinoids into his wellness, how he brings it into training, pre and post. I won't say work because obviously, he's doing some really cool stunts, so I wouldn't call it that because he's doing very amazing things. But it's just another way for people to highlight how they bring cannabis into their life. So this is Colby's way to put his spin on it and just be authentic in that. I think that's what's most important to us as well. We don't want to work with people that are going to just say, I smoke Dime because I got paid. Like, we want people to share their authentic experience, their intention behind it. So this has been our way of working with Colby in this case for him to showcase to his community and also ours how cannabis plays a role in that, and also like the performance aspect. Because I feel like oftentimes people think like you're gonna just be this stoned athlete, you're gonna be stuck. Successful stoners exist, athletic stoners exist, you can still be functional. So that's another way working with individuals outside of cannabis. I feel really highlight that. We're always trying to fight the stigma and build off that stigma. So when someone outside of this space speaks up and advocates for cannabis, but also says, I use it too, then I feel less people are like, oh my God, it's bad. They're like, okay, wait, tell me more. Hold on, wait, let's talk about it. So even like the series you were talking about, the send to your aunt that thinks weed's bad, I feel that is essentially the conversation we're able to have when we are working and partnering with people outside of the cannabis industry.
Absolutely. I love that.
I've got an example that might not be as sexy as yours, but we've done well partnering with senior communities.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
So I teach a class in the store called Tea and Terps that I do at least once a month, and it allows people to come in. I do a 90-minute conversation on the history of cannabis and best practices, how to use it, kind of cannabis 101. And being able to go into those specific communities and, have them come in. Seniors have been incredibly loyal customer base with lots of money, and don't like to shop other places once they know you've got what they want. So we have a steady stream of these seniors that come in because of that partnership, because we just took the time to go down and say, hey, we'd love to be able to teach you guys about the weeds and how it can help you for medicinal use. And then anybody who has a grandmother knows that they don't keep any secrets to themselves. So they tell everybody up and down the hallways, and then we continue to have that moving in. So it's not nearly as sexy as a celebrity, but being able to partner with things within your community, because again, cannabis users look like you and me. They're doing all things in all parts of the community. Just decide what your audience, you're looking for, and go out and find them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, while I was walking here, there was actually an MMA fighter that was talking with us and trying to get a sponsorship. And I was like, yeah, just tell me what it is. And, we're open to those things. I think when legislation changes to where marketing dollars can be deducted off your tax basis, this will all change. And kudos to you guys for partnering with people like that and being multi-state in that element, and the education side of it and the health and wellness side of it is very huge. And I think a lot of people kind of don't pay attention to that as much, but there are serious benefits. And that's why, when I look at our terpene analysis on flower, that's what's important to me. Finding rare cannabinoids in our flower is I'm like, this is sweet. I have to expose this some way or another. And so, yeah, I think this will all change once we have different legislation. It's challenges right now.
For sure. You mentioned MMA fighter. I just want to give this example real quick. I used to work with Buddies. Shout out to Buddies. I'm sure you're familiar with Buddies, but they have this fire and ice topical, and they told me they sponsored a jiu-jitsu fight. And the response from because first of all, I don't know if you know, but jiu-jitsu people love to dab. But also just the topical for their joints and whatnot. The response they got from that sponsoring that fight was so incredible that all the fighters love their product, tag the product off love. So I think definitely just finding the niche and reaching the community with your product and the intent behind it is so powerful. Is there any questions that you guys have for any of the panelists? Yeah. Yeah. In case you couldn't hear, she's asking what advice you guys have for up-and-coming brands that are trying to get into dispensaries. And shout out to my girl. She has cannabis tea. Go check her out.
I think the first thing I say to brands is have a really good idea of what the market will bear and what who else is in your space. Know who your competitors are, know how much they cost, and know how much they're moving. That becomes, important when you're sitting down talking to someone like me, because on the retail side, every inch of shelf space needs to be turning dollars for me, or else I'm losing money. So there's only so much that I can do in regards to bringing on something that I don't think is well supported. Let's put it that way. The other side of it is also ask people who do what I do, either dispensary owners, dispensary buyers, what they think about your product, and that's and listen to what they say. How does it look? How does it comparing against the other products that are in the market that are doing what they're doing? I've had a lot of people who've brought things to me that I love, but I know is not going to sell in my community for one reason or another. Or, the product is good, but the packaging is bad, and I know that that's not going to move. All of those things, you have to be able to take all of those notes. And that's the joy of being a small brand, is that you have the ability to iterate quickly and get more things out there. And then I know how hard it is for small brands to be giving away product all the time. It's like, I'm not seeing the return on investment, but make sure that when you are giving it away, you're giving it away to decision makers, to people who have the ability to, if they, and tell them this when you hand it to them. If you like it, great, I'd love to talk to you. If you don't like it, that's fantastic, tell me why. Because that's the only way that you're gonna be able to fix it.
Feedback is very important, for sure.
I can speak a little bit on this, but it's again, I always like to say, like, picking lanes. And so with the brand that I manage, basically we can facilitate procuring or producing just about anything, but having that ability to produce about anything is not necessarily the lane that we need to be in. So we do flour mainly, right? And gummies were a consideration for us. We did our first launch, and I looked at our COGS and I was like, man, this is not lining up, because our retail manager was like, hey, I'm buying gummies at like $3-4. And I was like, dude, we're all in at like $3-4 right now. So I was like, how can I compete with that? And so, it's just one of those things. If you have a really niche lane and you have a really good product, it's just advertising to your consumer base and making sure they're loyal and catered to, and feedback loop. Yeah, 100%. Being inside those retail stores, showing the budtenders and ownership that you really care and that you have a plan moving forward, especially in the case that your product is not moving as quickly. Always have a plan for that too.
For me, what first came to mind, basically two things. First would be understanding your competitive advantage. I feel at times we want to compete so hard and be the loudest in the room. Like we're all saying, your lane. What is your lane? Why are you unique from the next product on the shelf? It doesn't have to be you yelling why you're better than the next brand on the shelf, but what makes you stand out? Second to that, I feel it's also understanding your customers. I'm that person. I've always been the person. Part of this is just my marketing training, but like we don't have one ideal customer. There's multiple. There are several. So being able to confidently articulate and communicate who your customers are to the retailer, because I feel that's where I'm even playing devil's advocate a little bit, because I'm like, I love that. And that's why I love having those conversations, because I want to know who your customers are, but I also know who my customers are. So then we can have that collaborative conversation on explaining the overlap. You only have flower smokers, amazing. I know we're most popular for our distillate, but I also have rosin. I also have live resin. There's also ways for us to also, again, showcase and teach customers in real time how that product can still serve their needs and their consumption preference. I love when someone comes up and says, I don't smoke flower, I don't really vape, that's fine. Have you ever tried a live resin vape in a bong? Close your eyes, take a hit, and just tell me what you think. But again, it's because I understand what type of customer does want the distillate. I understand what type of customer does want the resin. I understand what type of customer didn't care about us until we came out with the rosin. So with that being said, when you understand who your retailer is serving, because all retailers are not the same, which is again also the joy. No, for real, all retailers are not the same, which is even, again, you have a very niche community, you understand what you're doing, but regardless of what your retailer is, they know who's coming in. So how can I communicate who my customers are so I can bring you more dime customers, and then we all have customers, because that's also part of it. I don't want to just be the best brand here. I want to also grow with you as a retailer. So building that relationship, having the confidence in your competitive advantage, but also understanding your customers so that you can grow with your retailers. And it's not just, this is who you have now, this is also who I can bring and how we can grow together, and also service who you already have here with a new product that meets them where they're at.
Thank you, V. That was awesome. Is there any other questions? Yes. Okay, cool.
How you guys doing? I feel like the podcast realm has been extremely popular lately. Do you guys think there's some opportunity to solicit trial and awareness, or just awareness on your brand up there? And then looking at realms like TikTok, which is somewhat up and coming as well. And then maybe working with chefs and just going outside the nomenclature in a way and whatnot. Sorry about the loaded question.
Self-plug, I have my own show called Shirley's Temple. It has a focus on mental health. And the only way I'm able to fund it is with amazing sponsors like cannabis brands. I do offer it as an opportunity for influencer marketing, so I genuinely would say it's a great platform. Would love to hear what you guys think.
I've done a ton of podcasts, or been on other people's podcasts, and we just launched our MILF podcast.
MILF, I love
Yes,
that.
because that's our house brand is MILF, and so and we've done, Backpack Boys has sponsored some episodes. Family Farms has done some episodes for us. It's been very good on a couple of different levels because the content is such that it's not everything's not going to be overtly about cannabis. Where we've talked to moms and talked about parenthood and cannabis or what have you, but those clips can come out and we can use them on social or what have you. They have a wider reach, and it allows people who might not necessarily be interested in cannabis by itself to see it through a different lens. And in that way, it has been very, very helpful.
Absolutely.
I'm biased because I've had the opportunity as Dime to work with the Shirley Temple podcast. But I think kind of to your point as well, like with podcasts, the conversation is not just cannabis. It's going to be part of the conversation, but there's more things that are spoken about. And again, it hits on, as I personally call them, there's no official tone, but like those lines of connectability with people. We can talk about cannabis, we could talk about sports, we could talk about where we're from, we can talk about so many different things within a podcast. So you're able to, again, bring it back into the conversation. So I definitely feel like podcasts are very lucrative. And plus, most of us, again, in a marketing space, we are capturing the podcast audio with the video. So then you are also going to have multiple content forms that you can use forever. So I think that also gives more opportunity because it's not just one, even though it's that one session, we have the Instagram reels, we have the long form YouTube video, we have the audio. So I definitely feel it's beneficial, but again, it's giving you that opportunity to meet and connect in different communities, not only with that conversation itself and the host and even the host style and the way they communicate in the community they have, but also the nature of that content, because anyone can search that. I don't need to know Shirley Jew to look up about a podcast of someone that you already interviewed because I like that artist, and now I know who Shirley is, and now I know who those products are. So there's so many opportunities there.
For sure.
Shirley, I haven't gotten a chance to get on a podcast yet, but we'll have to talk about that after this. But I think you guys are all talking about education here, and like it's a side of things that is seldomly catered to, and I think that's where we can bolster for this industry. There's a lot to be done,
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this panel. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching. Shout out to Network. Thank you guys. Where can we find you guys on social media, speaking of?
Follow Dime at dime.industries and at Dime Merch. And if you'd like to follow me, you can find me at fairybrandmother_.
You can follow Josephine and Billy's at Josephine and Billy's with an S. You got to type it all the way out because we are shadow brand.
Right.
Also, at The Apothecary, APOTHECARRY, so 2 R's. And then me personally, I'm the Hi Mommy Life on Instagram.
Shout out. You can find us at Daily Smoke brand. That's our newest brand that we just launched like 4 months ago. And then Cure Company Backup right now, or just go onto our webpage. We've got everything on there, and it's also easy to order if you want to order online.
Amazing. And I'm at Shirju, SHIRJU, Shirley Samples on YouTube. Thank you guys again. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.